Something that I've realized about myself is that I'm not necessarily a creative person, and that's okay. Now, does that mean I don't have a creative bone in my body? No. I have the ability to make stuff due to all the things that I've tried in the past, but currently, I don't have any interest in doing any of those things. Some could call it a form of art block, which would make sense considering that I find this to be something that's common with a lot of artists, like saying like, "Oh, I can't make anything right now because um I don't have any ideas or anything like that." But I feel like the fact that it's happened with me so many times in the past with different things makes me feel like it's not really a form of art block, as opposed to it just being that I'm not inherently the most creative person when it comes to making stuff. The feeling of like not knowing what to make next usually comes after I get into something and I do it for a little bit, and then I start to realize like after I make whatever it is that I wanted to make originally, that I don't really care to keep doing it, if that makes sense. It's like, for example, whenever I got into crocheting, I originally got into it because I wanted to make like maybe a couple of hats. I wanted to make a bag, and I wanted to make like amigurumi plushes and stuff. And I did all those things. Like I even wanted to make a balaclava, which I obviously did. So it's like as you can clearly see, I made that stuff, and then after I made all of it, I was just kind of like, I mean, I made all the things I wanted to make, so what else is there to do? I don't have any ideas from myself for creative things to make. So once I made everything, it was just like, nah, I don't really care to do this anymore. With all that being said, let me get to the main point of this video. I feel like not everyone is supposed to be a creative mind, and not everyone's destined to be super passionate about bringing forth new things into the world. Instead, there are people that are better at finding and knowing what's good and what isn't good, which I would say is more along like a better way to describe it would be to say that they are better at curating. Whenever I get on Instagram, sometimes I'll go on my explore page and I'll see reels of people talking about like how important it is to be creative and how everyone should be making things in order to find like a better to feel more fulfilled in life. And to be honest, I think that's true for the most part, kind of, but I feel like that's not the case for everybody because some people just aren't very creative or they don't have ideas that they can express through art, whether the idea be inspired by their own emotions or other things in media that they interact with.
Objection!
While going back to put my thoughts together for this video, I realized that there's a chance that I maybe have been interpreting the videos incorrectly, and I was conflating being skilled at something with making things in general. Think of it like there are professional artists and painters that have developed skills to do what they do and have spent time creating because they have a passion for what they do, as well as ideas that they want to express. But then you have people that like to paint for fun, meaning that they just, like, they know they're not good at it, but they do it anyway because they just think it's fun. I know a lot of people like that. Them niggas are terrible at art. They know who they are. But, terrible at art, but, you know, they're good at other things, so, yeah, shout out my niggas, man. They aren't good at art or, like, painting, or they don't have a passion for it, but they don't have a passion for it, but they do it just because they find it to be an enjoyable activity. In hindsight, the videos are probably just trying to emphasize that instead of just being a mindless scroller, it's probably better and more beneficial for people to find, like, a hobby or something that's creative, as it's better for your health and well-being than as opposed to just tapping glass all day and scrolling on fucking TikTok. And they also might help you find new connections with others as it becomes something you can talk about and share, or at least if you care about that sort of thing. Because I know a lot of people, they probably don't, or by a lot of people, I probably just like, not completely, but like me, just like a little bit. Like, if you care to make friends and shit like that, it would help if you got into something like a hobby that's creative. I mean, you can also do the same thing for things that aren't necessarily creative, like basketball and like sports and shit. But I don't know. It's just for, anyways, you get what the point I'm trying to make is. Like, find a hobby that's creative, and you might make some friends off of it. In addition to like not just letting your brain go to waste by scrolling on apps all day. So I just wanted to say that.
If you find yourself to not be a very creative person or lacking any passion for creating things, take a step back and look at all the interests and hobbies and music and shows that you engage with. If you feel like those things are genuinely good and you feel like they are genuinely expressive of who you are as a person and the things that you like, then you might just be a curator instead of like a creative. It also helps if you have it also helps if you have people in real life that might come up to you and tell you like, "Oh, I really like this about your outfit." Or they just say, "Oh, I like your outfit." Or if you post on the internet and people like fuck with what you have going on, like, "Oh, I like the way this nigga dresses," or "Oh, that's cool that you're into this thing. I'm also into it too." That might just be finding people that have similar interests as you. But to be honest, like I said, if you think it's cool and it's genuinely you, eh, it's kind of doesn't really matter. It's basically the same thing. I came to this conclusion after thinking about the stuff that I own, because for some reason I always feel like I want to decrease the amount of things that I own, but I'm never able to. And I think I've narrowed it down to a few reasons why. The first reason, I don't own very many things that I would consider to be cool possessions that are worth showing other people or to just show off in general. The most show offy thing that I own is really my wardrobe. And to be honest, that's probably the most valuable thing that I own. The second reason is that I've already gotten rid of most of the things that I don't really want. And with that being the case, it's like, how am I going to get rid of things that I don't want if I don't have very many things that I don't want? Reason number three is that I pretty much love everything I own because I've already gotten rid of most of the things that I don't want. And I've been able to really like lower the amount of things that I own to the things that I truly like really love and want. So that leaves me with once again little to nothing to actually get rid of. But I don't know why. Just for some reason I just feel like I could always have less. Like not because I deserve less or nothing, which but because I just don't like having an excess of objects. Like sometimes I just feel like I have too many things despite the fact that I really don't have a lot. Now you may be asking what that has to do with the main point of the video. Well, like I just said, I love everything I own, which means that I think it's all genuinely good, and at the same time, I don't find myself having any idea of things to make. Like, there's nothing that I really want to express. So, a good example that I thought of was if you asked me to make something cool and creative, I ain't gonna lie, I'd be stumped. But on the other hand, if you asked me to show you something that I thought was cool, I ain't had no trouble telling you. I got plenty of stuff that I could show off that to me is actually cool. Or if you show me something and you ask me if I thought it was cool or not, I'd be able to tell you.
Isn't that the same thing as just having an opinion?
Well, kinda, but that's different because uh uh shut up. Another good example would be the concept of stylists. Stylists don't create the clothes that they get for their clients to wear. However, they do use their taste and good judgment in combination with input from the client and what the client personally likes to create looks for whatever it is that they need clothes for or they need to make an outfit for. Whether it be for like, oh, they're shooting a music video or I don't know, just they're doing a photo shoot. Or you could be like Kai Cenat. We all know that nigga has a stylist. Cause let's be honest, who the fuck is like you really mean to tell me that this nigga knows about goddamn like archive fashion? Like what? I understand it's popular on the internet and Kai is like an internet person. So it's like obviously he's gonna come across it. But let's be for real, bro. This nigga was wearing a Miri denim like a couple of years ago. And then this nigga suddenly started wearing like niche like fashion pieces. Like, come on, bro. You mean to tell me that nigga ain't got a stylist? Get out of here. Honestly, the more I think about it, the more that I realize that creativity is not something that's black and white. Sometimes it should be a little Hispanic. If you know, you know. But by that I mean it's not limited to just making tangible items. It could just be having ideas. A stylist doesn't make physical objects, but being able to put together a good, unique outfit requires a bit of creativity. Notice how I use the word unique, as making a good outfit doesn't always require creativity. A good example would be whenever Steve Harvey said, "Oh, get you a couple of suits, get you a black suit, a brown suit, whatever the fuck kind of color suits this nigga said," and then he said, "Uh, you can use the suits and you can mix and match different, like the top with the pants and the shoes, and you could have a decent outfit." It's like, yeah, those will get you good outfits, but to me, that shit isn't creative, especially considering it's a suit. And let me speak on that for a second. To me, wearing a suit is not necessarily creative, any kind of suit, because think about it. A suit is a set. Something like a jumpsuit or a Nike Tech suit is something that's gonna come together. You're not taking different garments from different places and of different styles and creating different combinations to make a unique outfit. It's meant to go together. And to me, I'd consider that to be more of a logical outfit as opposed to one that's made out of creativity.
Got a titty that sit on my gun. You gotta know these bitches little man. You gotta know these bitches little draw. It ain't enough motherfucking fun. It ain't enough, it's never enough. To the boy bleed and went back to the block. I love sliming for stuff.
To add on to that, in the fashion world, you have the designer and you have the creative director. The creative director doesn't make the clothes, but they do help the designers conceptualize the themes of the shows by providing ideas on like what music fits around the clothes and the venue, the decorations, and things of that nature. So, like I said in the beginning, not everyone has the commonly referred to kind of creativity that means bringing forth new objects into the world. Some people are just better at knowing what's good and coming up with ideas and putting other people's creations together. And that in itself is a different kind of creativity, as creativity isn't a concrete term that only refers to physical objects and the creation of media. For those of you that don't have either of these forms of creativity, I don't really know what to tell you. Keep tapping glass, I guess. I don't know. But that's pretty much all I have to say today. If you made it to the end, appreciate you. And thank you.
You know what it was, you know what it is. Only seeing my ample and can't got to me. Anything I probably say out my way with this shit. I done lived enough life for these 4 niggas.